Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to ToastEd Toastmasters. The name of the meeting is Aha Moments. And I'm just having an aha moment now because I didn't actually know that. So I'd like to welcome you. For those of you online, can you please rename yourselves? Just click on the three dots and just rename yourselves. And you can just put your phones on silent so that it doesn't ring while we're here. And I would just like to say we're a very encouraging club. We have a lot of fun. Julia's our cheerleader. She is super encouraging and super fun. And you will see that there's notes on your table, so please use them, and just anything that you like or enjoy, please use the Woohoo notes to encourage us, and then online, just put that in the chat box. Is everyone here online? Welcome. Hello, Libby. Is that it for our online people? If you need the bathroom, I don't know if you guys remember, it's put your Apple Watch on and take a bit of a hike. You can put yourself today. And finally, I'm going to be reading out the Toastmaster Promise. So if you can all repeat, I will just say, ToastEd Toastmaster Club promises to provide a positive and supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I wish you an exciting evening. I know we've got an icebreaker that I'm super excited to hear. And yes, I'll hand over to our amazing President, Justine. Over to you, Justine.
Good evening, everybody. Hi, and welcome. Online people, can you hear us? Did our sound good and everything sounding fab?
Excellent.
Okay, oh, yay, we can hear you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chantal, for the warm welcome and for reminding us about getting our steps for the meeting and going to the bathroom. This evening's meeting is Aha Moments, our meeting 173rd. I really hope that wasn't the meeting from now. Was it the same number last time? Okay. I'm trying to think, did I say that last time? I don't know. Anyway, we'll have to watch the recording to find out. So I had 173rd ToastEd Toastmasters meeting. Thank you all for being with us this evening. Thank you to everyone online. Thank you to everyone in person, our guests, our members. It's lovely to have you all with us this evening. We had, I know last time we did celebrate Gabrielle's birthday, but just to wish her for the 10th of October, we all celebrated her in person last meeting. But this time I'm just reminding you we had her birthday on the 10th. So Gabrielle, happy birthday. I know she was wanting to hopefully join us this evening, but she is gallivanting in Namibia at the moment, so I'm not sure if she's actually going to make it. She's so dedicated though. She's like, I'm going to log in. It's just tricky with the time difference and dinner. I'm like, just enjoy your holiday. You're fine. And then I'd just like to check in with our wonderful guests as we have this evening. We've got Bill and Jerry. Welcome back. Thank you again for being with us this evening. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you.
Would you like to share what brought you back to ToastEd, besides the fact that we're a block away?
That block away is big.
We had such a nice time last time. We thought we'd come back.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Lovely to have you. And then we have a very special guest with us this evening. Her name is Robin, and she's part of the Peninsula Hotel team. Robin, thank you so much for being with us this evening. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you.
I know you've kind of been dragged along. But what's brought you? What do you hope to achieve? What do you hope to learn from this thing? Anything in particular?
Oh, just see how things go.
Yeah.
Nothing really much that I'm expecting, but just to see how things go, and what you guys do, what's Toastmasters all about. So that's my expectation.
Okay, great. We'll hear what you have to say at the end of the meeting. Thank you. And then I see Chantal is also here. I'm just going to acknowledge Chantal and her fabulous team. They make all of this possible at the Peninsula. So Chantal, thank you. We really appreciate everything, and for you sitting here and getting the tech going and just making sure it's all seamless. So thank you very much. We don't have anybody online, just three guests today. So now we will get into some important news. We have 2 new members that have signed up within the last week and a bit. yesterday and then last week. So Ntebo and Marius, I please ask you to are two brand newbies. Please come join me up here. I want to just go through your induction, introduce you to the club, and then we can make sure that you are.
Oh, do they need to see us?
Yes. Wait to your members online. Just have to find your bios. Didn't print it, so I've got it all here. Okay. This is Marius. This is Ntebo, our brand new members to ToastEd. So I just want to read to you each other's bios so everybody can hear what it is that they're bringing to ToastEd. Toastmasters, what they're wanting to hopefully achieve. And then we'll go through, it's almost like a little vows thing where you promise to be a great member to bring, you'll see. And you can just say, I do at the very end. Okay. It's not that hectic, I promise. I'm trying to drive something, but it's not working. Okay, Marius. Is it Marius your bear?
Yeah, the second most famous guy.
Oh.
Yeah, the other one is, I'm not him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the actor guy?
The rugby guy.
Oh, oops. See, I'm really good at rugby. Okay, the distinguished business strategist, impact investor, innovator, and technology pioneer with a career spanning over 2 decades across industries such as mining, telecoms, and financial services. Known for his ambitious mindset, strong analytical skills, and ability to deliver results, Marius has developed and led strategic initiatives that have transformed businesses. As an entrepreneur, he has bought, started, and sold businesses and created an alternative venture capital model that de-risks startups and technology for impact investment. Sorry, have I missed a line? No. A model which is now evolving into a powerful financial technology for impact investment. With 15 years of organizational development experience and expertise in management and leadership development, Marius has worked across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, developing operational frameworks and developing large-scale companies. Marius holds a PhD in management from the University of Johannesburg and has delivered thought leadership at conferences around the world. He is also the author of a book, Systematic Exclusion, The Barrier to Scalable Impact Investment. Passionate about leveraging technology to create social and financial returns, Marius's pioneering work continues to align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. He's driven by a deep commitment to high ethical standards, governance, and making a positive impact, ensuring that his legacy is one of changing lives, innovation, growth, and a meaningful contribution of technology and impact investment. Wow, that's quite an impressive. That's tabletop. Table.
Okay, I'll sit one.
That was longer than
Oh, was it?
yeah. We should have asked the time at the time. Ntebo is a mom.
Second.
So no, it's fun. As I said, short and sweet. Gabrielle and I obviously have slightly different ideas. Ntebo is a mom of 2, originally from the Northwest Province. She's worked and lived in Johannesburg and recently moved to Cape Town, or 2 years ago moved to Cape Town, and currently working as Unix, okay. Unix IT engineer, responsible for providing admin support for a client in the retail industry. Outside of work, she enjoys long walks, drives, and hiking to keep fit. Oh yeah, you went hiking the other day, didn't you? Impressive. To keep fit, healthier, and inspired. She joined Toastmasters to work on her communication skills, presentation skills, and for confidence. Great. Yay! I'm sorry I'm doing it on my phone. Okay, here are your vows. Being a Toastmaster means more than simply making a commitment to self-development. Everyone who joins a Toastmasters club is making a commitment to the club, to its members, and to the organization as a whole. Please indicate your commitment by saying I do to each point in the Toastmasters promise. You can say I do to all of them, otherwise it's I do. Okay.
Do like
Yeah. As a member of Toastmasters International and ToastEd, do you promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of your projects to the best of your abilities, basing them on the Toastmasters educational program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all our members to learn and grow, to willingly serve your club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat your club members and guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to the club so that they can see the benefit that Toastmasters membership has to offer, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs, and to act within the Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities.
I do.
Yeah.
No,
Then I asked our members, will you, the members of ToastEd Toastmasters, pledge to support these new members in their quest of self-development to provide them with positive, helpful evaluations to maintain a friendly and supportive atmosphere, like we do that anyway, to give them opportunities to help others, and to make their Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience? If so, please say, I will.
I will.
I will. Good luck for your icebreaker.
I think this is my one here.
I'm excited to see your growth in our ToastEd Toastmasters, so that's very exciting. Thanks for joining us. I'd like to ask everyone online to please unmute yourselves. Everybody grab whatever you have in front of you. And we'd like to please raise our glasses and make a toast to South Africa and all her speakers. To
South Africa and all her speakers.
And all her speakers.
If you're going to hear everyone online,
I'll turn it down a bit.
I'm like my chair.
I now have the privilege to hand over to our wonderful Vice President of Education, who's in charge of helping all of us reach our educational goals and helps get all the meeting roles in place and puts the agenda together with the help of Sammy. So Sean is our fabulous Toastmaster this evening. So please welcome Sean.
Evening, everybody. So Toastmasters is, you've noticed that we would clap when people come in, and that's important in Toastmasters because it makes people feel welcome. The program goes along the lines of we have a timer, we have a grammarian, an art counter, and those are important roles in Toastmasters, and you'll see when those people come up to give those introductions, you'll see just how important that is. So we have 5 speeches tonight, and we have 5 evaluators. Every speech, one is an icebreaker, and there's 4 speeches that are normal speeches. You'll get to hear that just now. And the important thing about Toastmasters is that a speech is only a speech if you can actually learn from it. And when you get an evaluator that's giving you that evaluation, they're giving you the upside that you were talking about, and just maybe 1 or 2 things that you could learn about. And when you learn a little bit more about how you didn't maybe present yourself well, that information you're taking on in a positive aspect. So you go back and prepare yourself for your next speech to be better. That's what Toastmaster is. It's about improving, not proving. So you don't come here to prove yourself, you come here to improve. Then we also have impromptu speaking, which is table topics. And table topics is wonderful because you get a chance to be able to just have a speech without preparing for it. And they're wonderful. I love table topics. I think it's one of the best parts of Toastmasters is that anybody can just get up and have a speech. And then we have so that's the agenda for the evening. So can I introduce Chantal first to give the timer roll?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I think I have improved, and I'm so glad I don't have to prove. I remember my first icebreaker that I gave, it was over 10 minutes. I had no idea about time and that was an important thing. And so I've come to value them just being made to talk within a time, and obviously it makes you talk more eloquently. So I actually really value the time and keep them on now. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, I'm going to raise the green card. At 2 minutes, I'm going to raise the yellow card. No, sorry, 1 minute 30, I'm going to raise the yellow card. And then at 2 minutes, I'm going to raise the red card. And then we also have our speeches. At 4 minutes, I'm going to raise the green card. At 5 minutes, I'm going to raise the yellow card. And at 6 minutes, I'm going to raise the red card. Most other speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes, and I think we get the idea. 5 minutes, I'm going to raise the red card. 6 minutes, I'm going to raise the yellow card, and 7 minutes, 6 minutes, I'm going to raise the yellow card, and 7 minutes, I'm going to raise the red card. The individual evaluation should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I'm going to raise the green card. At 2 minutes 30, I'm going to raise the yellow card, and at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chantal. So Helanda is going to do the counter. Helanda, do you want to tell us about the counter?
Yes, of course, Sean. Greetings, Mr. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. The purpose of the counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen to overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase, such as I, or this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Helanda. Lily, will you give us the grammarian of these?
Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow speakers and guests. It's wonderful to be with all of you here this evening. I am the grammarian this evening, and as my role, I'm responsible to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it's also my duty to introduce you to the word of the day. And just a little note to old members like me and new members that are in the room, I encourage you to have a good look at the Toastmasters website. It's a lovely new layout. And I went to look up and read up more about the importance of the word of the day. And something that often happens, sometimes it's challenging and it is not said a lot. I really am going to encourage you to try and use my word of the day today, even as far as table topics. It would be wonderful to hear if you could bring the word of the day, which is sublime. The word of the day is sublime. And just to use that in a sentence, as he gazed over the mountain range, bathed in golden light, he felt a sublime sense of peace and clarity about his purpose in life. And with our wonderful aha evening, I'm sure we're going to have many sublime moments. Thank you.
Something about aha moments is, I think in life, I sometimes stand in the shower or I might be meditating and a penny just drops and it's like something comes to me and I go, how did that get to me? And I think there's a universal consciousness that we all tap into. it's like the knowledge is all out there, and it just, if you tap into it, that aha moment just comes. So sometimes it's like we don't have to try and find that aha moment. We just got to find a moment where we lose thought, and when you stop thinking, then maybe that aha moment just comes to you. And I just try and I do that sometimes when I'm sitting meditating. I go, damn, that's what I needed to do at work, and I go back to meditation. But the aha moments just come. Okay, so over to our speeches. So we have our first speech, which is an icebreaker tonight, and Chantal will be introducing our first speaker.
Toastmaster, I think I'm going to be I am going to be introducing Sebo's icebreaker tonight, and I am expecting it to be sublime. Icebreaker is just a way of introducing the person to the club. I know I rambled on with mine. I had no clue, but I'm sure everyone else is much more organized and informed than I was. And what Nsebo is wanting to get out of this tonight is she'd like to get some feedback, which you do, and so just feedback about her speech and get more confidence, which I think is what most of us are here to do, to get, and then also how to project her voice in storytelling. And that is, yeah, definitely a skill that can be learned if you don't already have it. So we're looking forward to your speech. Over to you, Nsebo.
From left to right in several goals.
At the age of 4, I would sit on a tiny chair alongside my uncle, ready to milk a cow. The excitement grew as I sprayed the milk directly into my mouth before I could milk onto the container. This felt like a celebration every day. As much as I loved the fun activities I did in the farm, I was eager to go to school and learn how to draw and paint. It was tough watching my sister and the other kids head off to school without me. Have you ever felt the need to be part of something that is out of reach? I only had to start to school when I could use my left hand to touch the right ear, an old way of assessing school preparedness. I only started school 3 years later. Being left-handed, my maternal grandmother insisted I start learning how to write and read and eat with my right hand instead of the left, which was forbidden. This left me frustrated, angry. I hated my writing. As much as I could not use my left hand in primary school, I was blessed with an inspirational teacher, Mrs. Fisser. Tall, long nails painted. She always wore the pink reddish lipstick. Her way of teaching by observation and experiments, ignited my passion for learning, the love for science, and it also uncovered my strength. I could throw a javelin with my right hand. Sadly, she left the school, but her encouragement drove me forward. I moved to a new town for my high school, stayed with my dad, and I chose a science-based high school. Even though my dad was not involved in my high school activities, which left me isolated and unsupported, I still focused on my studies. I was strategic in how I approached my science subjects. Remember Mrs. Fisher? In 2011, May, I lost my grandmother. She was vibrant, an inspiration to the community, and loved by many kids in the neighborhood. In 2011, September, I lost my uncle. Though he taught me how to milk a cow, what I fondly remember was him visiting and rolling on the lawn outside, screaming, "Zibo, I can do all this thing the whole day." 2011, November, I lost the father of my 2 kids and husband. He was full of joy, loud laughter, and always eager to help people realize the business ideas, some of which are prominent business men. What I cherished most about the 3 of them is their incredible zest for life. And because of that, I never spiraled into grief. These experiences, they taught me how to value joy, community, and perseverance. They encouraged me to keep on working on my mosaic of life. Now think of that moment where you thought, this is a disaster. How am I going to do it? You felt it at some point. Now let's raise our left arms. Gather all those moments that made you who you are today. The peaks and the valleys. Bring it to your right arm. Treasure those moments and continue creating your mosaic of life.
Dave van Zyl, you are evaluating the next speech. Will you just tell us what Anna speech is about?
Good evening, everybody. So I have the pleasure of evaluating this speech, and it's about persuasive influence. So the project is about helping the member to understand the different types of persuasive speeches and then to deliver a persuasive speech to us at our club. So the point of the project is to deliver a well-organized speech on any topic, and obviously the objective is to be persuasive. For Anna to appeal to our emotions, ethics, or logic, depending on what it is she chooses to speak about, and she may incorporate humorous, informational, or other aspects into her speech. And the note is that this shouldn't be a project about persuasive speaking. Mr. Table Topics Master, are you going to Table Topics Toastmaster? Are you going to introduce Anna?
Anna Gert. Change is a good thing. Change is a good thing. Anna Gert.
Toastmaster, welcome everybody. So nice to see you all here. Change is a good thing, yes. There I was, 18 years old, checking in at Jan Smuts Airport. No one in my family had ever been overseas, so no one could tell me what it's like to go overseas. It was my first flight ever. I had won a scholarship to go to Germany. I was nervous, but I was also feeling quite brave because I was doing this with the first one in my family. And one thing that I never questioned was what could go wrong. I just did it. What then transpired was life-changing. So I went to this new country I'd never been to. It was a new environment, new people, a new language. I made new friends, new acquaintances, new jobs. And eventually I made the unknown a known, and I made this my home. 17 years later, I had the opportunity of going to Spain, and I just did it. Again, I was challenged by a new language, learning a new language, and a new lifestyle. And I loved it. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. Then I decided I've got to come back to Cape Town. I'd never been to Cape Town, having grown up in Bloemfontein. So I came to Cape Town, and everything was new to me. And now, 20 years later, I can look back and say, the wonderful thing it was for me to have come to Cape Town. We've all made changes in our lives. Just think about the homes you've lived in. You've changed jobs, partners, maybe a husband or a wife. And would you also think that because of those changes, you are actually the person you are today? I often think of our ancestors who came to South Africa. They really stepped into the unknown. They didn't know what to expect in South Africa. There was no internet, no news really. But they must have had some knowing that this change is going to be good for them. And they just did it. They must have had this inspiration to take this step. So as a realtor, I often go into homes of empty nesters. And then I have to chat to these people who are so scared of leaving their homes. They're petrified of change. And yet, once they've settled into their new environment, and I meet with them, they are transformed. The change was good for them. And they tell me, why didn't I do it earlier? Why didn't you persuade us to do it earlier? And then I'll also go into the property that has been changed, or that has now got a new owner. And the whole property has changed. There's a new energy, new people. Everything has benefited because of this change. And then sometimes I do think about those lost opportunities, chances I didn't take because I was too scared of change. I feared the unknown. I do wonder what would have happened if I had taken that step. How would my life have changed? So my question to you this evening is, what would you like to change in your life? If you look back and you see all the changes you have made in your life, would you agree that you have evolved into this person because of all the changes? And in closing, I'd just like to remind us all of Nike's wonderful saying, logo, just do it.
Is that the guy that said the only constant is change lived like about, I don't know, it was like the Roman Empire. He's Aurelio, one of these guys. But it was like 2,000 years ago. And I thought, I would have thought that only came up like maybe in the 1900s or something. I thought, is that been around that long? And yeah, so in my own life, whenever I've resisted change, the universe has forced it upon me. And you end up having to do that change anyhow. So I don't think we get to decide that we want to change or don't want to change. I think I call it the angels knock on the door, and they knock louder and louder and louder until eventually you're just forced to change and you end up doing it. And divorce, I am someone that's divorced, so I get that. I see that, like, you got to sometimes just do it. So now we're on to our third speech, and Andrea, you're going to come and present, you're going to tell us about the third speech.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be evaluating Talisha. The last time that I evaluated was actually Talisha, which is quite amazing because I want to focus and see her progress over the time. Talisha's got a very sublime mind. She's incredibly intelligent, and I hope that I do you justice with your evaluation. She brings a lot of incredibly important subjects, sensitive subjects, and mind-thinking subjects, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. So, Talisha, thank you.
Talisha Moodley, pressure cooker, Talisha Moodley.
So I was in the Johannesburg airport waiting to get onto a flight back home to Cape Town. It was a balmy Friday afternoon, and I'd had a long and exhausting work week. And honestly, all I could think about was getting home to a hot shower, getting into my favorite fluffy pajamas, and snuggling into the warm familiarity of my own bed. And as I was waiting in the line at the airport to drop my bag off, daydreaming about my bed, suddenly I heard this loud screeching coming from the front of the teller. This is absolutely unacceptable. I will not accept this. I paid for this ticket and I'm taking this with me. You cannot tell me otherwise. Taken a bit aback, and as I peered between the people in front of me, I managed to make out the frantic outline of a woman, hands in her hair, furiously arguing with what seemed to be a very unimpressed airline staff member. And as I looked at the people around me and in front of me, they were doing one of two things. Either some odd facial yoga, like or completely ignoring the situation and furiously looking at their phones and pretending like nothing was going on, avoiding all eye contact. All I could think of was, please don't let this delay my flight. So eventually, I managed to make it home on time. And as I got into bed, I started thinking about this woman at the airport. I mean, was she okay? Why did she get so emotional? Was it the airline's fault? Was she always so loud and angry? Or was she just having a bad day? I mean, I have bad days all the time, and I can get pretty emotional. But would I go so far as to lose all social decorum and start yelling at someone in public? I mean, under normal circumstances, probably not. And that's my personality, right? But under just the right amount of social, mental, or emotional pressure, even the most seemingly stable of personalities can crack and boil over. So in today's fast-paced, social media-driven worlds, there's this omnipresent pressure to fit in and also have an opinion. I mean, sure, you can be an individual, but you need to be an individual that comes with labels so that we know what to do with you. I mean, are you more liberal or conservative? Are you self-employed or an employee? Are you a nurse, an artist, a teacher? Do you not go with labels? Are you all of the labels? Yeah, maybe you're just a weirdo there. And each one of us have different associations to these labels, depending on our own personal experiences and our background. And that's normal, right? Like our minds are wired to make associations, and we need some kind of structure to have a functioning society. But I think where this becomes a problem is when we're not able, or when these labels restrict our ability to say what we need to say. And that hits home for me. So as a consultant working in the construction industry, looking and sounding like me with all my very mixed labels can be quite difficult. Some would say even comical. And even with all the global efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, in the workplace, it still can sometimes be a challenge to be taken seriously. And I think the new graduates and young professionals have more promising prospects, but at least in my experience, trying to navigate the industry has been like wading through an ocean of mud scattered with landmines. I mean, I can't tell you about the number of times that I've had to bite my tongue to hold back a response to just an offhand, distasteful remark, or signed off an email with kind regards when I was feeling neither kindness. But thankfully, I have a pretty high tolerance, and I found ways, or healthy and constructive ways, to blow off steam, as we all do. I mean, that's life, right? Then you have to roll with the punches. But I think my aha moment came this year when I almost reached my tipping point and I could not stay quiet any longer. And thankfully, or luckily, it was not an outburst at an airport, but it was a simple email, just basically highlighting or calling out an incident and genuinely asking for an explanation. It was the first time I'd ever spoken up on a DEI related issue. And man, was it scary. I mean, not knowing what people are going to say or how they're going to react. Will I still get my bonus? I mean, Will I still be chosen for projects? It was nerve-wracking. But I'm glad I did speak up eventually because it helped relieve some of the anger that I was feeling and also created an awareness within the team and started a dialogue. So navigating through these labels is not an easy thing to do. And I think, and my hope at least, is that we will all work on it and be able to create a more open environment in the future workplaces where people are not afraid to speak up or have the difficult and awkward conversations. In the words of Dan Levy, or paraphrased words of Dan Levy, how great would it be to sample a bottle of wine without getting caught up with the label? Thank you.
Reminding us, I didn't speak up when I should have. I worked for a company and they had bought this fancy software that actually didn't work. It was a brick. It was a dog. And I never said anything. So I just bypassed the software and I was happily bypassing it until Merrill Lynch wanted to do an interview with me on the software. And I went, don't do your work. I got fired for that. So, so Bill, will you introduce the budget scheme?
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I have the privilege of being the evaluator for Dabang's Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language Speech. Now, this is a project from the Presentation Mastery Level 1 level, and the purpose of the speech is, well, vocal variety and body language. She can do the speech on absolutely any topic that she wants. It can be humorous, international. The style is of the members choosing. And the only other thing that she's asked me to look out for is how confident she looks in giving it.
Redmond, success is in your hands. Success is in your hands. The Dabang Redmond.
Success is in your hands. It really is. Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, education is one of the best weapons to use to change the world. As you journey on your academic career, I would like to share with you just 3 things that you can use to use education to propel your success. First, set a goal. Set an undeniably clear goal. Your goal is your North Star. I remember many years ago when I was in the exact same position as you in high school. Lots of schoolwork, peer pressure, teen drama, and coming from a very strict home. What a combination. Raise your hand if any of this sounds familiar. My grandmother had 9 grandchildren that she was raising, and more were still coming. She raised us with love, but the truth is, the reality is, there was scarcity, there was poverty. And so I had to decide how I would use education to achieve success. I wanted a better life. I didn't even know what this success that I'm looking for looks like. I just knew I wanted a better life. So I worked hard. I studied every day. I made sure that I improved my grades. And so when I matriculated, I qualified to go to the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So from Limpopo, I had myself a one-way ticket to KwaZulu-Natal. It was a one-way ticket in many senses because I actually got married there. Both my kids were born there. So it really was a one-way ticket in many ways. But I studied and I continued to focus on my goal. And I'm a qualified CA today, partly because I focused on my North Star. I made sure that I do everything possible to improve my circumstances. Secondly, I would urge you to focus on incremental changes. Just measure yourself on a daily basis. Am I doing better than myself yesterday? Small changes that will eventually add up to big change. I remember in grade 9, when I wasn't enjoying learning Sepedi. I am a proud Sepedi speaker, born and bred, but to learn it as an academic subject is very difficult. Phonetics, idioms, I was not enjoying it. I had an aha moment. I decided to read one page of the prescribed Sepedi book every day. A small change that led to big change. I would like to encourage you to do the same. So for you, it might be different. It might be studying for 10 more minutes each day. It might be determining for yourself that you will improve from getting 70s to 80s in maths. And a little bit controversially for you young people, it might be spending 10 less minutes on TikTok every day. It sounds difficult, but it's possible. It's all within your control. Using these methods, you can actually propel yourself forward and use your educational environment to achieve success. And lastly, I would like to encourage you to quiet the noise. Just quiet the noise. There are so many external factors that are trying to influence you. Social media, friends that are frenemies, that will discourage you from any dreams that you share with them, peer pressure of any kind. Just have a discerning mindset and make sure you don't entertain anything that derails you from your North Star. So if you forget everything that I've said today, I would just like you to remember these 3 things. First, set your goal. It's your North Star. Focus on incremental changes. And lastly, quiet the noise. I believe in you. I see myself in each and every one of you. I know you can achieve the success that you wish for. And remember, in the words of Nelson Mandela, use the education as a weapon to change the world. The country needs you, the world needs you. So use your North Star and take back control. Success is indeed in your hands. Thank you.
It reminded me of James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, where he talks about incremental habits. He says if you get 1% better every day, you'll be 37% better in a year. And in 3 years, you'll be more than 100% better. But you have to do the incremental habits. It's called micro habits. Sometimes we just got to just do it. It's like reading that one page that you talk about, Tabang. Suddenly, if you read that every day, you would have read the book and you wouldn't even have put any sweat into it. It would have been so easy. It's great that you reminded me of that one. Thanks. So now we have Libby, and you're going to give Helanda's speech, right? Evaluation. Thanks, Libby.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. It is my absolute pleasure and joy to be evaluating Helanda tonight. Landa is on the persuasive influence pathway on level 2, and we had a little chat earlier over WhatsApp. And what he's really hoping to do in the speech is to implement the evaluation that Justine gave him a few weeks back. And he would really like to focus on engaging his audience and using more descriptive words. And I'm really excited for Helanda because today he said is a big day for him because he's not using any notes. We are here for you, Helanda, wishing you all the best. Sean, will you introduce Helanda's speech, please?
Dago, brotherhood, Helanda Dago.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, it's sublime to me here to share with you some experience. I remember that about 19 months ago, I was in Cape Town to rebuild my English because I was almost dead. Now, today, I think I can share with you some experience of life, of things that happened, some coincidence that we didn't realize at the moment, but after some moments, after some times, we can see that there are things that happens, but those kind of things doesn't happen alone or for any other purpose. I will share an experience with my friend. I have a great friend. We grew up together in the same city. We went to the same secondary school to make the 50th grade. But unfortunately for me, and I think this now, I had to change the school. And my friend stayed in the school where we were together. And I failed to pass to the next year, and he passed through. So from that year, he started to be 1 year in front of me. We made the 6th grade and then the 7th grade. And when we were to make the 80th grade, there was an event of war, and we were separated for almost 3 years. After 3 years, I realized that the place where I was living was very next to the place where he was living. And as a coincidence, we met in the road and start talking about our past, about the time we didn't talk about each other. Well, at that time, he was a teacher, and I was working in another place. But I was struggled to start studying for the high school, and my families finally get a place where I could start the high school. And what coincidence! The school was the same school where my friend was also studying. He was 1 year in front of me. And because of this, he finished 1 year in front of me. After this time, we were together many times. And I couldn't go to the university, so I had to stay 1 year out of university, and he also. After 2 years, he started the university, and I was trying to start education, but I can't get the place. So I had to change the university, And the old place where I found where I can start was the same university where he was. So I entered in the university to make law. He was studying law also. At university, I introduced him one of my classmates that became his wife. He got married. But at the time, I warned about the kind of girl. I said, I don't know if you can handle with her. He was laughing, but no problem. They got married and lived together for about 3 years. After that, they separated. But what is interesting is that my wife was his friend, but I didn't know at the time. And after 5 years without seeing the girl that became my wife, I found the girl in his family house. So it was amazing, well, moment of a lot of joy. And after a few years, I got married also. And he became my best man in my marriage. Till now, we are good friends. We are still together. And I'm sharing this kind of things here that to rehearse the fact that there are things that happen in our life that we have to pay attention and start to think why this kind of thing happens. Can we control our faith? Can we control our destiny? I'm not sure. The only thing I know is that I have amazing times, a lot of joy with all people I know, with his family. He's got a new wife that we are together almost every weeks, and we are happy with our friendships. So this is the few things I want to share to get close to your friends, to get close to your families and love them. Thank you.
What saying is that if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans because we don't know what's around the corner, and then it just happens, right? These things synchronously. Yeah. Can we get speech times, Chantal?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. For Nsebo, for her icebreaker speech was 6 minutes 57 seconds. For Anna, it was 4 minutes 50. For Talisha, it was 7 minutes 38 seconds. For Tabang, it was 6 minutes 35 seconds. And for Holanda, 6 minutes 5 seconds. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yeah, that's great.
And the woo notes are there for you just to write anything you want to anybody in the room. So if you want to pass them a note, there's the woo note. I hope you're having a sublime evening. Speeches have been really good tonight. Well done, guys. Really, really good speech. Impressive. Are you there? Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
I can't get it.
Turn off your phone.
Turn off your phone. That might be a good idea.
You're right.
See you.
Right. So what we'll do is we're taking that early. So it seems to be we've caught up time. And then we don't realize sometimes that when you intro when there's lots of guests, you intro them, it actually takes up quite a bit of time. Just realize that now, like suddenly my watch had stopped. Okay, so we're going to take half an hour dinner still. So we'll come back at 5 to 8. On my watch it says 25/7 now.
So dinner was ordered for 7:30, so we'll be here in 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, we can mingle so long.
Thank you. Well, welcome back, everyone. I loved the delicious lasagna, and I'm sure everyone else did as well. So we're going to start the meeting again. So without further ado, I'm going to be calling up our Toastmaster for the evening, Sean. Over to you, Sean.
So we have our first evaluation of the evening, and that is Chantal. I'd like to call Chantal.
Sublime speech. And I mean that because an icebreaker is not easy. It's your first one. And you did it amazingly. You have so many great elements of a great speech in your speech. So that was quite amazing. You have great audience engagement by asking, have you ever felt that something is out of reach? So asking a question, pulling us in like that is an excellent facet of good speech making. And I think you did that twice, I think. Loved your opening. Opening to captivate your audience is a great way of opening, and to do that in your icebreaker that you knew to do that was amazing. Your visual of the farm life, I could just taste the milk, basically. I was right there with you. Another great element is to describe characters. It's a great element of giving a speech. And you, Mrs. Fisser, tall, long nails, pink red lipstick. To describe characters is also an excellent facet. You want to do work on your vocal variety. A great use of this was when you called out, and I hope I said it correctly, several, like that. You really shouted that out. It gave us a jolt in a good way. So there was a good use of vocal variety, which is what you wanted. Very good use of descriptive language. There's a lot of descriptive words in your speech. There was a clear storyline, good structure, and it was easy to follow. Finally, what was perhaps for me the most powerful and excellent aspect of your speech was the way you used your title from left to right, but you made the audience raise raise their left hand and move it to the right. So audience engagement, used your speech in that aspect of the speech. And I just felt the symbolism of it as you made us do that was an amazing aspect of a speech, to use that technique. So it really was good, and very few people use it. So excellent. Now things to work on. I would suggest your vocal variety. We are doing a little bit of help, but because otherwise I'm just praising you. So I'm going to give you a little bit of credit. It's very difficult for your first speech, but that was your request. So some things with vocal variety to look at would be raising your voice a little bit, using your pitch a bit more, and also speed. Sometimes a great aspect of speech is to make it a bit faster and to make it a bit slower. You did use pauses quite well. And then another thing I would also use is use the floor a little bit more. But it's, you know, something that comes later on with time. And then also more hand gestures. I think you were quite like this. So perhaps just, other than making us move, it's quite an excellent use of hand gestures. So to summarize, points to work on is your vocal variety, moving up and using your voice to go faster and slower. And things that you did very well was, it was a very good icebreaker, good opening, audience engagement, described your characters, so clear structure, excellent play on the title by making the audience move from left to right, which was excellent symbolism and audience engagement.
And so, Claire, would you bring the second evaluation for us, please, Claire?
Good evening, and especially Anna. It was so lovely to learn more about you and the sublime adventures that you've been on in your life. I mean, to go from a family where nobody's traveled to leaving and going overseas at the age of 18. I loved your use of humor in saying, didn't ask what could go wrong. It was a great way to break the ice, but you really captured our attention. I loved you listing off the things that you experienced about new environment, language, people, jobs, and especially the line, made the unknown known and my home. I thought that was just such a clever way of putting it. So you used humor, which was awesome or fantastic, and gave us the different areas. So where you'd been overseas, and then you went to Spain as well, and then back to Cape Town, where you hadn't been before. So you really became the well-traveled member of the family. What I want to suggest is you only used 4 minutes 50 seconds of the 7 minutes that you had. So what I'd like to suggest is use pauses to allow us to catch up with where you are in your story and take in the different elements. And how you could have filled that out was to give us more of a description of what you experienced. So you'd mentioned about the changes, different environment, people, languages, but to give us more richness, to be able to get into your story. That would have helped you use more of the time. Also, as I said, the pauses and then your speaking pace. You had a little bit of vocal variety and a bit of body language, but you could certainly have used more to support your speech, as well as using the speaking area a bit more, depending on where you were in your story. So to help us, you're standing in different places representing the different countries you'd been to. Again, the humor about your ancestors, that they'd come and they weren't able to use the internet to find out more about where they were going to. I love the way you also brought in your job, as a realtor, and using that story to help us realize how sometimes uncomfortable change in terms of your empty nesters, how people realize that it's actually very exciting and they wish they'd done it before. So it tied into the theme of the evening, which was also fantastic. You also asked us questions to help us reflect on how our experiences in life had shaped who we were. And that's one thing where I thought you could also have helped us is clearly describe how these experiences shaped who you've become. And that would have allowed us to get to know you a bit more. It would help with, because you were trying to persuade us to take these changes. And I think that would have just helped with the overall persuasive element of the speech. But I loved your humor. I loved the information that you shared, the way that you shared it with us, and just encouragement to use more pauses, change the rate and the pace at which you speak so that you can fill out that language and use more descriptive language to help us feel really part of that story and see how you've changed and grown. I look forward to seeing your future speeches, and I yield control back to the Toastmaster.
Much. Your message was clear. Facing your fears, being able to speak up, ignoring the labels. They say that diversity, equity, and inclusion, when you use that in a corporate environment or in a work environment, progress moves fast ahead. And I think it is something, a message that you brought across. And being in the construction business, it takes a real strong person to be able to speak up. And I think you said that it got rid of that anger. Everything came off your shoulders and you felt so much better for doing it. And I think by you doing it, you set the stage for everybody else to follow suit. I love the way you started your speech with the story about the airport. We all sometimes lose our cool and we sometimes wonder, could we do that? Or how's that person doing that? But we all live life and we all have experiences. And any one of us can lose our cool. And I think that's what you identified with by seeing that and experiencing that sometimes we just have to take a step back and see, it could have been me there too. I absolutely loved your sense of humor. Facial yoga was fantastic. I love that. And you also used very, very good gestures. Unimpressed, you folded your arms. I think continue to use that because you did that very, very nicely. Your analogies also getting through oceans of mud and scattered landmines. I really enjoyed your use of language. It was quite rich and sublime. And my favorite was when you spoke about signing your email with kind regards when you really didn't feel that way. I thought that was fantastic. For me, areas for you to improve, you started off quite slowly and quite softly. And I think if you come in and feel like or show that you're a little bit more confident by speaking louder, that sometimes helps. Standing a little bit too far from the camera, you're all the way back here. Whereas when you are standing right here, not only can the audience see you, but everybody who's online can see you too. You also asked quite a few questions, Talisha, and I think giving the audience a bit of time to think them through and to process it is quite important because you ran through 5 or 6 different questions, not giving us time to think about it. I love the title of your speech, Pressure Cooker, which is all about building, and if you don't speak, you're eventually going to blow. But I felt that maybe even though it had a lot to do with the speech in a way, it was quite separate to what it is that you were trying to explain in terms of your inclusion and diversity and equity, I think it is. Getting your audience more engaged is also something that you can perhaps look at. You know, is there something that you can do to get people to, you know, do something back, engaging them a little bit more? So my suggestion is start off strong, stand a little bit closer, use pauses after your questions. A great thing that I'd like, that I really enjoyed seeing is that you didn't use any of your notes. Well done. Your humor, your hand gestures, and I'd love to see a lot more speeches going forward. What you brought about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it is through progress, and by using this in different companies and just in everyday living, that it's not only when we give somebody a place at the table, but it's also when we give them a voice and value. And I think you did that by standing up for yourself in your business and speaking your truth. And I think when you do that, you feel powerful. Thank you very much.
Well,
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and especially to Mom. What I loved about your speech was the structure. Okay, you clearly outlined what you're going to speak about. You had three main goals to talk about: undeniably clear goal, my lodestar. You talked about incremental changes and quiet the noise. And then you gave great examples for all of those. You were emotionally attached to this speech, and that came across to everyone in the audience. One of the things that she asked me to look out for was confidence. And I think you were very confident giving the speech. Okay, you believe in your speech. And that's something that a lot of people don't do. I don't give the speech, and everything about it is right, except you don't feel like they're connected to it. I felt you were connected to your speech, and that was powerful. Okay, the couple of things that you really did well from a standpoint of vocal variety, you have excellent pauses. That to me was a strength. In between each one of these goals, you paused for a moment. You gave us time to contemplate that, to think about it, and to let it sink in. And that's a really important thing to do when you're giving speeches. The other thing that I wanted to point out was, I love your title, Success is in Your Hands, on a speech about using vocal variety and also about using gestures and things like that. And that's probably where I'm going to come in with my first suggestion, okay? You're a prayer, okay? So your hands were clasped quite a bit when you were up here. And the funny thing about it was, as soon as you came back and we started having the dinner break, all of a sudden you're over here and you're talking about this and doing these things and your hands are going out like this. And I'm like, why didn't you do that when you're in front of the audience? And I think there's a reason for that. Number one, you gave the speech with absolutely zero notes, and that's fantastic. But it also means that you're in your head a lot, especially as a new speaker, about what you're going to say, and all these other things are added, right? That's why Madonna never actually sings when she's on stage, because she's too busy doing the dancing, okay? Now, I don't think you should have a soundtrack for your voice while you do all of these gestures, but with time, all of that becomes so much easier, right? You become more confident about it, and you become more involved with those. So even little things like 9 grandchildren. You can't. Yes, you can. You can, when you talk about things like quiet the noise, slow it down. So much of what you do in terms of a speech is the way that you give it, and how much energy you show in giving it, or how much you slow down and bring it back. Well, watch a great speaker. Watch someone like Mandela. Watch someone like Obama, and all of a sudden that build that comes at the end. So when you're really hammering home that message at the very, very end, they know it and they take that home with them. You gave us a lot to take home today. I'm going to say, use your own advice. Allow yourself incremental changes. You're going to feel more and more comfortable up here, looking at your audience, getting it in, drilling it home, seeing that they're understanding your message, and you're going to feel so much more confident in your delivery and in your message being held.
And Libby.
Elande, may I call you by your nickname? Sandro Tiger. I think your friends would be very happy tonight and when they see the replay. Well done. I thoroughly enjoyed your speech. It was such an inspirational speech, and I loved the name of your title, Brotherhood. You took us on this wonderful journey between you and your friend, and despite the many challenges that you faced in your school career, being disrupted by a war for 3 years, you somehow found the gift and the opportunity and the joy of the coincidence of meeting up again at various stages. I think what I enjoyed so much about your speech tonight, Sandro, is that you were calm and you were enjoying it. And that came across so strongly. We've heard you speak a few times, and I'm just so excited for you with the progress that you're making. And tonight you threw those notes away and you do not need them. Thank you for the bravery of doing that. Because you didn't have your notes, you could engage nicely with us as the audience. You used your hand gestures. Your eye contact was good. You took us on this wonderful scene when you described your friend. And what I really loved when you took a bit of a pause and you showed us your beautiful smile. And there was a time that you even giggled. And because you giggled, you paused. And in that pause, you took us all into that story. And we could just see you and your friend together. What were the chances that life had allowed you to meet up again? What a coincidence. And when your friend met the girlfriend and there was this discussion about whether he would be able to handle her, you took us right into that scene of what it must have felt like. Some areas to work on. Now that you're comfortable with no notes and you're standing, I suggest maybe you find something that you can put your laptop on, and then that will allow you to step right back and to come forward again to the audience, which will be great. Another thing that would have been nice, Sandro, if you told us your friend's name. Because if you told us his name, we would have had an idea about him, and you could have then described him in more detail, whether he was tall or short or energetic or whatever he was. When you were separated for those 3 years of not going to school, you could have given us a lot more about the emotions that the two of you felt. It must have been a very, very challenging time for you. This will create even more interest. Although this is an area that you wanted to work on, painting that picture, you've done that well, but you could do more of that. I liked your question at the end, the question about fate and destiny, something that was very relatable. In summary, what a wonderful speech. Thank you for taking us on this inspirational journey. Well done in achieving your objectives of no notes and standing and engaging us and painting the picture. I have one suggestion that maybe you work a bit more with your mentor. I know Catherine was your mentor. I don't know if you've got a new mentor so that you can really look at maybe some of the English translations and where your mentor could help you bring in some more descriptive words that will help you in all areas. But thank you, Helanda. I look so forward to your next speech. Keep growing, keep shining. Tonight, in my opinion, was a sublime speech for our Angolan participant from. Well done.
Thank you, Libby.
Now we'll call for speech times. Chantal?
Mr. Toastmaster. Congratulations to all the evaluations we all went over. Chantal, 16 minutes 53. Claire was 3:56. Andrea was 3:50. Bill was 3:30. And Libby was 4:21.
Now we come to the exciting part of the evening. Table topics. Eugene, are you ready?
Hi everyone, I'm your table topics master for the day. Table topics is basically a way for you to be able to speak impromptu and without preparation, basically. And so it's important to hold this skill because you never know when you'll be in an interview or how a supervisor asks you a question, or maybe on TV. Some of you might end up on TV and be have hard-hitting questions asked of you. So it's important to hone that skill and and get it sharp so you can answer questions. It's a tough act to follow up the last time. Andrea's very sublime table topics, but I've put a lot of effort into trying to make it a good one today. And so I have a few volunteers. How about we start with our Toastmaster today, our first contestant. It's a good one for you.
Yes.
If you could zap everyone on earth with an aha moment or a realization, what realization would you want everyone to have?
So if I could, so I'm not a religious person, but I've done a lot of spiritual development and work. And if I could give one thing to people is to be able to let them know that they are God. Because most of us don't realize that the God is actually in us, not external. And that's been like a construct of mine for many years, trying to understand that. And that would be the one thing. And if there was a second, it would be to walk gently on this earth, because I think we walk in filters where we don't stop to smell the roses. And if there was a third one, can I have a third? So I was interviewed by a podcaster one day, and he asked me at the end of the podcast, he had asked me what it was about work and it was about millennials. You know, millennials make up 75% of the workforce in the world today. And he said, what message would you have for millennials? And I said, be human. And he said, what does that mean? Why would you say that? I said, exactly. So we've forgotten how to be human. That would be my messages.
3 answers. Next person I'm gonna call is Andrea. If you had a time machine that could send you back to when you were 18, but with all the knowledge you have today, would you use it?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Wow. At 18, I was crazy, out, partying with my friends, living life, having a good time, with no filter and no sense of accountability whatsoever. And I think today, with the knowledge that I have today, and I think as you grow up and as you face certain experiences in life, whether it is hardships or difficulties or the loss of somebody, whatever it might be, it certainly shapes you on how to deal with things moving forward. And I think that as you learn how to deal with things, you actually grow and you actually learn how to cope better with when obstacles are thrown your way. So if I had the experience today when I was 18, yes, perhaps I would have made a few different decisions. I would have certainly kissed less frogs. But I would have possibly made a couple of different decisions. Yes, thank you.
Gonna be my next
contestant.
I know.
Yes.
Yes.
You've been appointed.
No.
You can.
I'll take it.
You try. Okay. Come on.
That make you happy.
Yes,
This
it
is
dropped.
No, I love it.
So as kids, we're often told little white lies by adults around us, like the stories of the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus. Can you remember a white lie that you figured out was a lie when you were a child?
Can I think of a white lie? I remember a time my mom was giving me a recipe for making these cookies. And I called her up because I said I didn't have lemon juice. And she said, sub lime juice. That might have been a little thrown in there. That's a white lie. That never happened. I'll tell you, there was a time when my dad took me out to go shopping for this kid who was in the hospital. And he wanted to get toys. His dad was in the hospital with him. He said, he wants to get some toys for the boy. And why don't you come with me and tell me what the good toys would be? And all of those toys actually ended up being for my birthday 2 weeks later. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You know? And I feel really bad for that kid because he never got those toys. But that was a white lie told by my father. And it was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, time for a bit more. Alicia. Children can be such good sources of wisdom sometimes. Have you ever had an interaction with a child where they said something or did something very profound?
Yes, so I'm the oldest in my family on both sides, oldest female on my father's side. And so all my cousins are younger than me, and I only have one cousin on my mom's side, and he's now like I think 21 years old. But when he was a lot younger, I mean, he told like I was feeling really down one day, and I think he must have been about 12 or 13, and he sat me down one day and he was like, it's going to be okay. And I thought to myself, wow, coming from a 12 or 13-year-old, I mean, how did you pick that up? So yeah, I think for me, it was definitely my younger cousin, my little brother. And it was very profound. Thanks.
Now I have to get you.
So now
Yeah.
the lights, yeah.
What's a simple life hack that you've discovered through a realization that you had as an adult?
Yeah, well, a simple life hack.
Yeah.
Sure, there's actually a couple, and it comes from my life experience over the last 4 years. It's been a really interesting journey over the last 4 years. I mean, you heard my CV earlier on, and that all of that happened pre-COVID. COVID had this massive impact on, and it's not a unique story. I think there's a lot of these stories where COVID actually just obliterated opportunity and things that were happening at the time, and people took actually time to recover and so on. So one of the things that I've learned over the last 4 years is actually to to just take a deep breath. Prior to that, I was a workaholic. There's a reason why my CV looks like that. 15, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. Started a business, did academics over 7, 8 years. And then as I came through absolute destruction on my after in COVID and the business that completely obliterated in the Netherlands, and I dealt with burnout at the time, probably for a year and a half, 2 years. This is one thing that actually stood by me and said, listen, just take a deep breath. And sometimes it's never what it seems. It's never. So sometimes the basic simple things like family and loved ones around you are actually the things that really, really matter. And the other thing, second thing, is you just have to take one step at a time. One step at a time, moving forward. So, thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Let's go on.
Who next? I think I can do 2 more. And next is Julia.
Is my position?
Yeah.
How's the perfect person? If you could go back to school and tackle a subject or topic that you struggled with when you were in school, what would it be, and do you think you could tackle it now? I know mine is long division. Long division.
I don't remember that I struggled in school, but I struggled at home. But I had one beautiful thing, and this is something I don't want to change for any reason. My mother was a very strict mother, and she forced me to take the bicycle for 8 kilometers every morning, forwards and backwards to school. Over some fields, some beautiful hills, and I was determined to get quicker and quicker and quicker. And I think it was pretty quick and pretty good. And it let me forget the struggle I had at home. So when you just ask me, what would I change or do different? Possibly not a subject, because I was too busy with my struggle at home. That the struggle I possibly had in school, but I forgot about because the other struggle was too strong, would be doing exactly what I did. And while I was taking the bicycle to school, the 8 kilometers forwards and backwards, I was singing. And that was possibly the reason why I got positioned in the school to sing a solo. What possibly makes the struggle even nicer. And just coming to the point of excitement, back now in present time to Cape Town, tomorrow is the day of the day where for the first time in 20 years, and the first time for many, many years without struggle, because my life is very struggleless without drama right now, I'm joining the choir tomorrow. So let me see. I actually go to the choir in church. Why? Because I think the people in church, they are nicer to you and are happy or not so strict when I sing walk. Because I'm not quite sure if I can sing. I just love the idea of singing. So singing has become the freedom of struggle. So changing nothing, no. And tomorrow I will give my greatest and best voice, it doesn't matter how.
Well, do one more.
Okay. Shoot. What is a movie or book or piece of art that changed your perspective on a subject?
What a sublime way to ask me a difficult question. When I watched Titanic for the first time, it was on a double date. My friend liked this boy liked my friend, and they arranged a double date with his friend. So we were just tagging along to the movies, and we got there. I think I must have been 18. I had never dated before, and this guy had some ideas. I actually, apart from obviously having emotions and liking a boy here and there, I'd never dated, so I didn't actually get the memo. I was just tagging along. So we get there, and obviously Titanic is very emotional. The tears are coming. Rose is watching him sink. I can't help myself but make a few sounds like. And that was his chance to put his. Then I had the aha moment. Me. So I went into the movie theater with one perspective. I'm just accompanying my friend, and came out with another perspective. He likes me.
Thank you.
Well done. Can we call for times? You got time.
I've got the time. Table topics. Dawn, you did 1 minute 19 seconds. Andrea 1:18. Bill 1:12. Alicia 1:04. Marius 1:54. Julia 2:41 and Tabang 1:50. Yeah.
Okay, so now we are going to vote. Yeah. Okay. So Rolanda,
Yes.
Could you give us the content report, please?
Okay, thank you. Well, firstly, I want to congratulate everyone because you turned my job very easy today. It was almost impossible to get some catchwords or filler powers, but I found some things here. I have one arm from Chantel, one arm from Andrea. I have only one saw from Andrea too. I have here 5 saws from Tilisha, 2 repeats from Tilisha too, and 3 times I mean, and 2 times you know. That's all, and once more, congratulations for everyone. Thank you.
Would you give us the grammarian report, please?
Sorry, I didn't get Sean.
No, I said to Libby that I said thank you very much, Yolanda.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow guests and Toastmasters. I have had a sublime evening being the grammarian.
Yay.
And thank you to Andrea, who used the word of the day, sublime, twice, Sean twice, Claire once, and Chantel once. Apologies if I missed anybody's. As Sean said, the speeches have been of such an incredibly high standard this evening. Have focused particularly on thoughts and words and sayings that I liked, because as Yolanda has just said, there were very few grammatical errors, filler words. I'm going to start with Sebo. I'm not your evaluator, but just to say I loved your speech, because I'm also left-handed, and I also had to sit on my left hand and write with my right. So your word, I hate my writing, is something that at my age I still worry about. I love the word encouragement drew me forward. Zest for life. You never spiraled into grief. The mosaics of life. Some beautiful descriptive words that you used in your speech. Thank you. Anna, you used a word, the unknown and the known, something that we can all relate to. Talisha, you created a lovely picture with your balmy afternoon and the warm familiarity, the omnipresent pressure. And Valiator spoke about wading through oceans of mud, scattered with landmines. Beautiful descriptive words. Thank you very much. Tabang, I particularly liked your Toastmaster where you said, I didn't get the memo. A modern word, but beautifully said. And Andrea, you would have kissed less frogs. Beautiful descriptive words that we can all relate to. There were many quotes too. I particularly liked Tabang's one from Nelson Mandela, how education is the weapon that we can use to save the world. Very, very relevant in our country. Marius, well done on your toast table topics. And I loved your word, COVID obliterated. Powerful word that we can all relate to. Thank you very much. If I have left anybody out, my apologies, and thank you for this opportunity. Over to you, Sean.
I've enjoyed being your Toastmaster this evening. It's been a great evening, great speeches, and I yield back to our president.
Sorry, I've cut off the view for audience, but I need my laptop. This little bit. And my notes. Wow, I was sitting here thinking, there's lots of thinking, but the one thing that stood out for me tonight was we have got contests coming up in February, I think. We haven't planned, we better plan. But February, beginning of the year next year. And at ToastEd Toastmasters, we already have a world champion of public speaking. And we have got an evaluation champion. Lawrence was our evaluation champion 2 years ago now.
Wow.
And sitting here tonight, listening to speeches, to evaluations, as well as table topics, I feel like every single one of you can be in that contest next year. So I'm putting that out there. Can be an aha moment maybe at some point. Yes, good idea. Or maybe not. Take it or leave it, but give it some thought. I know Verity often says it's not about the win, it's about the growth. So you will grow by entering into a contest and maybe reach the world stage. So that's just my little aha moment I had. I feel like this evening we had icebreakers, we had speeches, we had evaluations, we had table topics, as I've just said. And outstanding. All of the speeches tonight were just amazing and just so powerful, insightful, and inspiring. So thank you all. I could feel that you had all really spoken from the heart. So I really do thank you for that. And even the evaluations, I sit there going, wow, I didn't even think about that. Or there will be something that I take away each time just from the evaluations. And I heard Chantal speaking about that too earlier this evening, is you learn so much from other people's evaluations and what you can put into your speeches going forward. And to all of our role players, I know I say this every time, but you have no idea how much it means that you take on role and you participate in the evening. So thank you. And Eugene, beautiful table topics. Thank you. I love it. And we can't forget our grammarian and our counter. Thank you for doing such a great job. And everyone used the word of the day. So please, thank you. I think I'm going to do our awards just because I know I say it every time, but I then do forget. So let's do that and then we can check in with our fabulous guests. Okay. We have got award time. Sean, please may I ask you to be our photographer for award? He's so big on social media right now. No, we're really not, but we're trying to be. Very nice. Before we get into the awards, I'd like to please ask Ntebo to come up so I can give her icebreaker ribbon.
Yes.
Well done.
Okay.
Thank you. Well done. You should have a certificate for that too, actually. Okay. Just have to think what comes first. Yes. So, drum roll, please. For the best table topic is. Yeah, sort of relate to that. Not quite this moment, but that Titanic moment.
Okay.
Thank you. Well done. And then drum roll, please, for the best evaluator. It's Bill. Congratulations, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for evaluating in our
All the armor around.
Okay, now for the big moment that we've all been waiting for. Biggest problem. This is seating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Lots to listen to.
So well deserved. Well done. I'd like to just take a few minutes to check in with our special guests. Three very special guests. I'm going to start this way around now because I ended with you last time, Robin. What is your takeaway? Did you expect it to be like this?
No, not at all. Like I explained to Bill that I didn't expect what happened like to be like this. And obviously I saw myself in certain speakers, not mention names. And as I picked up where I could actually strengthen myself because I am the individual that does certain presentations.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm part of the training development section in the hotel. And I picked up that you guys gave feedback.
Yes.
I love using my hands when I speak. That's something I love doing. I love using my hands. And like I told Paul, that I speak quite fast. And yeah, I speak out loud and I go up and I go down and I go up and I down. And I really, really enjoyed it. Like really, I was like, wow. I was like, and I made a few notes. I had like 2 pages full of, some notes that I can take back to myself. Because obviously I need to give feedback tomorrow in our management meeting. And I feel much more confident now, especially when I do a speech. I feel like I can work on like certain things like my speed, movements, making eye contact because I like that. I look down, I look up, that's what I do. But thank you for allowing me to sit in and obviously taking in, various feedbacks, and it was interesting, really, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good luck for your presentation and feedback tomorrow. Use all the tips that you got tonight. Yeah. But hopefully we get to see you again. You're always welcome to join.
Okay, thank you.
It'd be lovely. And then maybe you can do a table topic next
Probably.
All the time. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Jerry, what is your takeaway this evening?
You have such a warm and professional and well-run group. The speaking tonight was really rich and inspiring. It was just a wonderful evening.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for being with us. It's lovely to have you again. I think we've got some special guests that are coming every month. Thank you, Jerry. What's your takeaway for the second time with us?
It's an excellent club. You do things right, and the quality is across the board in terms of evaluations. The table topics were excellent. Everyone got up. What I love is I told Tabang, you have to get up every single chance you get. Every time you get a chance to get through a table topic, do a table topic. And of course, so is there anyone else out there? And she puts her hand up and she wins it, because that's what it's about. Yes. The more times you get up there, the easier it becomes. And you have that aha moment when you look in the eyes of everybody out there. Okay, I'm having fun now. And the one thing that I said earlier to her was, speak to everybody as if you were just sitting at your kitchen table or around a table like this. People love that. So many people think they have to, I got to be more formal now because I'm in front of an audience. No, you don't. No, you don't. Make it as if you're just sitting around the table, and people feel that. And they feel that warmth and that genuineness. And with that, you can take them wherever you want them to go. And so it was a wonderful meeting.
Thank you.
I'll be back.
Yay! To speak to people as if you were socializing and how you would speak, then you get more animated and sense of humor comes in or whatever it might be, and then it's not so like standing up here going, and now I need to speak kind of thing. Our next meeting, it's the last meeting for the year. It is, because I know last time I gave you the wrong date. The 3rd of December. It's a Tuesday, obviously. And it will be the last meeting for the year. And then please note that in January, we haven't set a date yet with the Peninsula. However, it won't be the first Tuesday of the month because everyone's still away or recovering or whatever it is they're doing in January. And so, we'll keep you posted on that date, but it will be later in January. So I think January and February meetings will be quite close together. So just bearing that in mind for if you want to do speeches, to prepare, let us know that you want to speak and take up any roles. That's it from me. Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all on the 3rd. Oh, sorry. I do have to tell you something. Obviously, I forgot. Please, we are needing to get out of the venue as soon as possible. But there's a fabulous bar at the back. If you'd like to go there, mingle, chat, catch up, do all those fun things. And then the last thing. Please don't forget to put your badges, maybe just on the little next to that blue box.
Yeah, well, there's a table outside.
Well, there's a table outside, yeah, just so that we can keep them because they seem to disappear quite quickly. Libby, hello.